Yo, 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 what is up? We are back. This is NFC West Talk with me, No Crypto, and my guest, well, my co host, Joe Stevens. What up, Joe?
What's going on, man?
Not much. Nice Wednesday afternoon, evening.
It's
Seems
nice
like things have
outside.
kind of. It is nice. We're both seeing the same sky right now. We don't normally have nice, beautiful sky at this time of the year.
Yeah,
Well, that's not
exactly.
necessarily true, but yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, Washington is about dark and cloudy 9 months out of the year, and the other 3 months it's just gorgeous. It's just
Yeah,
gorgeous.
can't beat it.
It, I'm telling, if you can stand the 9 months, I mean the summer months, and it's all worth it. Being out in green grass and it's sunny. You know what I'm saying? It's not dried brown grass underneath your feet.
I
It's
don't know. I'm I'm kind of a dark and cloudy guy just because football season. So I think I was telling people at work the other day. I was like, you know what? Baseball season hasn't started yet, and I'm already ready for September. I can't deal with it any longer. So hopefully this draft comes up pretty quick.
yeah, it seems like things kind of died down from free agency. It seems like some of the dust has settled.
Yeah, that's how it usually always starts, though. Teams will go out, spend a bunch of money, and then it kind of nobody has a bunch of money to throw around left. But there's still a bunch of good players on the market. You know, Bobby's still out there. I think everybody in Seattle is waiting for him to come back. Hopefully that happens. So,
So now Bobby's situation. What do you think? What do you think he's doing right here? Because like his chances of getting on a competitive team are going down just as fast as his chance to get the money that he's looking for. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, what is he doing? He's kind of sitting on his hands.
yeah, that's a thing with him. Is like I think he wants the most money as possible. He's his own agent, but I don't know. I don't think. I mean, he's already got a Super Bowl, right? Like a lot of these players that hop around, they haven't won a Super Bowl yet, right? I mean, Bobby did it was only his second year, but it's not like he's like that's missing from his Hall of Fame resume, if that makes sense. I think
Right.
I mean, me being a homer, obviously, I think it makes most sense to just come back here. He still lives here. I mean, he lived here all last offseason. He still has his house in Bellevue. So I I don't know. It'd be not only for a need from the Seahawks standpoint, but like just a great relationship standpoint. It would be great to have him back. So
There's that
yeah,
spot in your heart that's still missing that piece.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, I mean, Russ left. He forced his way out of town, right? Everybody booed the shit out of him when he came back, and then Bobby comes back. Everybody stands up, claps. He makes his way around the stadium. It's just different. There are two different, and one's very genuine, and the other one's very disingenuous. So
Which is funny because he always tries to be so genuine. Which
Bobby or Russ?
no, Russell, like he always tried to
Oh
sound like he's
yeah,
so
he's
genuine. And he's not really. When it comes down to it, he's just he's trying to sound that way so he can get what he wants out of you, which is
I think
totally
we
not genuine.
I think we noticed it honestly about 5 years ago because the first half of his career here, it was always corny, but it wasn't like how he is now. If that makes sense, he's not, especially when your play declines, dude. But he's not. It didn't seem like he was me. The first 5 years, and it's like the second half, it was two different people.
When the packets came out, the work packets came out, that's when I was like, the fuck is this guy doing? Like
What's
you're
that?
a player. Remember when he had the 12-page packets on each team? Like at the beginning of the week, he would have,
Yeah,
a packet and he'd give it to all the people on his offense so they could go through and do all this extra homework. And like at 1 week, he was like so happy because DK answered the sourdough Sam question, I think it was. You know what I mean? And it was like, bro, what are you doing? Like, like, just let the coaches do their shit. You just fucking take care of your job and not worry about what other fucking people are doing. They got their own shit to handle. Like, they
Yeah,
don't
and
need to be worrying about mascots.
in Denver, he was like having his players only meetings on Mondays, which is their off days. Like who wants to go into work on their one day off during the season, you know? I mean, he's just
Yeah, I'm sorry.
he
Players only meeting. It's not mandatory. Fuck off. I'm not going.
yeah, he wants to be something he's not, if that makes sense. Like he wants to be the coach. He wants to be Peyton Manning, but he's not Peyton Manning.
I remember, so in high school, I went to Marysville Pilchuck, and we had a coach who came in my junior year. Yeah, it was my junior year, and he's going to change things up. And so we had always had the spaghetti feed. So it was the night before, we would eat a lot of spaghetti, and then the next day we'd get up, go to school, play the game, go home.
Yeah.
So he didn't like that we were having the spaghetti feed, off school grounds and, in other people's houses and stuff like that. So he decided, this is the great thing. Day of the game, we're going to have the spaghetti feed. And it's like, huh? The day of the game, he wanted to have the spaghetti feed. And then, like, he's like telling us, don't eat too much. And it's like, bro, you don't know what carbo loading is? Like, I'm sitting there, I was a student athletic trainer, right? And I'm thinking, like, okay, you understand the thought process behind carbo loading, right? Is you load yourself up on carbs the night before, so then you've got an abundance of it the next day. So if you're doing it that day, all you're doing is loading your body down with a whole bunch of food that it now has to process while you're trying to do all this other stuff that you need your body at the highest point of capacity, if it's capacity, and it's worried about digesting food like pasta.
Yeah, it does sound like a Russell Wilson thing to do. That's him.
Yeah,
in a nutshell. But yeah, like
I
go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Oh, I heard George Kittle talking about how he how Mondays he's doing all right, you know what I mean? And then by Tuesday comes around, like he starts to hurt and all this stuff, So why in that 1 day period where you're feeling okay, are you having to go in and do a team meeting when you could be, just relaxing, doing your self preparation for, your rehab, essentially? Because what he was explaining is, like, I'm in car crashes. Like, the hits that we take are like car crashes. And he's like, I'm in multiple car crashes each game. And then he's like, by Thursday or Friday, I'm getting back to my form. And he's like, and the longer you go in the season, the farther that Thursday or Friday starts creeping into Friday and Saturday. So why on Monday are we talking about a very precious day in these guys' lives during the season? Are we talking about we got to go and sit in a room with fucking Russell Wilson, who only wants to talk about himself?
And Subway sandwiches. Yeah.
Subway sandwiches. I got to say a shout out to the people join the chat. Shout out to Damian Lee. He says Nick Cannon has more kids than the Rams has players, which is probably true. Probably. I'm not gonna Google it, but I'm gonna go ahead and say it's 99% true.
We'll fact check it with our brains. It works out.
So David McNiner, shout out to him. He's got a channel too. I don't have your stuff I don't have your channel in the description. I will. If anybody's watching this later, his link will be in the description. Joe's link will be in the description. But he says the 49ers are done in free agent after signing Bryant. I can't remember Bryant's last name, but he's the D end. He went to the same college as Colin Farrell, or however you're gonna Cleveland Farrell. Yeah, I'm never gonna get that right, I have a feeling. And so between them, in their careers, they have 14 sacks altogether. And the Bryant guy that we just picked up has 4 his whole career.
Oh, hey, so that means Cleveland Farrell's got 10.
That means he's got 10. But
sounds better.
And David might be 100%.
It was one season, but yeah.
and David might be 100% right here. We might not pick up another free agent other than a kicker. That's the only other position that I think we'll probably go. The rest is all in the draft, baby. Unless we do some kind of crazy deal where we can bring in a Yannick Ngakoue. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only.
I think obviously there'll be plenty of other free agent signings, but you mean as far as big notable names, right?
No,
because they always
we've
they always
got everybody.
I think they pick up because what are they allowed to have? Like 85 players for the preseason, right?
Yeah, but we don't really do it like that. We usually kind of get our team set up of who we know who our starters are pretty much already going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And then what we do is we fill out our camp bodies with undrafted free agents and essentially other teams' practice squad players who are trying to find a way in somewhere. You know what I mean? That's essentially it. So like free agency, like, no, we're pretty much done. The only other people we're signing here is either, like I said, like a Yannick Ngakoue, because I think that's the last big DN that's out there that we could really, make a shot for. And other than that, I think they'll just stay with who they got and go into the draft.
Yeah, Yannick's pretty solid, actually. Just physically, I mean. He gotten a little bit older than I think what he was traded 3-4 years ago from the Jaguars to the I don't know, his trade, because we were in on that. And I remember just being super excited. Oh, we're getting Yannick, and no, it never materialized. But
Randy Daytona, shout out to him. He's giving you your props.
Oh yeah, what up, Randy? I think he was in with us last time, right? He might have even been on with me last night at some point. I could be wrong.
Randy is a very good supporter of the YouTube community, so I wouldn't put him past him to be popping in your channel and giving support. Damian Lee's getting me in trouble here. He said Colin Farrell just text his agent to see what Ryan's talking about. Wouldn't his agent be texting Colin Farrell, be like, "Hey, you see what this stupid motherfucker just said?"
He can't even say his name right.
That's what I'm saying. Colin Farrell. Yeah.
Cleveland.
No, it's
the only reason I know his name is because he was on Hard Knocks, I think.
Now, the only way I'll get his name is if I start thinking of him as Cletus. Because if I get the Clee down, Cleveland, then I'll figure it. But like if I can't get that down, he's going to be Colin.
All right. What's 93 mean, David McNiner?
That's what I was wondering. What the 93? But Randy Daytona says I've been following JS like people been following the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. I got a cult following here with Randy Daytona. He's leading the pack.
If you ever get a chance, go to a Grateful Dead concert.
Are they alive?
Well, some of them are. It's more okay. How to put this? The community is crazy. You're talking about it's all like a whole barter system. So like I went there with a whole bunch of beer, out of date beer, expired beer, and I was like, "You want some beer?" They're like, "Yeah." You want some brownies with mushrooms in them? And I was like, "Yeah." You know what I'm saying? So we're, and that was the day before the concert, and so like the at the concert, like I am not on any drugs at this point. In fact, I'm probably just like a little hungover. Did a lot of drinking the night before. Shouldn't have done that because anyway. So I saw Doobie Brothers, which is a great show. Allman Brothers, great show. And then the Grateful Dead got on. It was at the Gorge. You ever been to a concert at the Gorge?
I was just about to ask it. That sounded the very start sounded like a Gorge story. I mean, it had to be.
Bro, and so you got the sun going down on the gorge. So you got like the pink on the hills and you got the river there. So it's just, gorgeous. And they start playing. I swear to God, I felt like I was tripping on something. I told you, I hadn't even smoked weed. I hadn't even smoked weed at that point. You know what's funny? You know what's funny about that story? So I tell my boss, I was like, "Yeah, I need this weekend off. I'm going to the Grateful Dead concert." He goes, "Okay, you got to go take a random UA." I said, "Okay." And I'm thinking about it. So I'm like, why the fuck did he have me go take a random UA? The reason being is you're going off to this concert. You're probably going to do some shit. If I random you right now, then I don't have to random you for a while. You know what I'm saying? So he was like protecting me. He was making sure.
Sound like a cool guy.
Shout out to Matt Webb. Yeah. I don't know if we were live. Oh, Damien. Oh, Kmart's greater than is Kmart even around? Well, are the Rams even around?
I don't know. You know what? I can't talk too much shit about the Rams. I was telling Peo about this just because, like, do I like them? No. But can I respect that they actually have a ring? You know what I mean? Like, they said F them picks or whatever. A lot of teams try to do what they do and fail miserably. I mean, like, look at like the Dream Team Eagles, you know.
Well, they also kind of failed. Like, they got their championship, but it wasn't just fuck them picks, it was fuck them seasons. You know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly. And that's what you're saying when you're saying fuck them picks, I think, is because, you know, they're not building anything towards the future.
No, because like look at 49ers and Trey Lance, right? So we gave up 3 first rounds essentially and a third for him, right? He hasn't played much, right? And the team still went on without him, right? Like, with how the team was built, they were able to go on without having to. They were able to get to the NFC Championship without being able to really use any of that capital, that draft capital, because he was injured. So I mean, like, you've got kind of the same thing going on. They said, "Hey, we don't need these picks. We want this player." We said, "We don't need these picks. We want this player," even though it's kind of different. But the difference the way it played out.
Your player, it's just different. I don't know why it's different.
You know why? But it's the rookie contract.
Yeah,
you gave away all those picks and then have to pay that player. We gave away all those picks and got somebody who at max costs like $12 million at the end of his contract with us. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of it. But also, like, I don't think they draft well.
No, and they don't have any. I don't think they had any depth, if that makes sense. Like, I don't. Oh, what's up, Eric? I don't think they have any depth at really any position. Even when they won the Super Bowl, they were relatively healthy, I think, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they signed Odell off the street, and he fit right in. I mean, usually when you sign a guy off the street midway through the season, it takes them a while to work in, but I mean, they put him right there. So
I want to give a shout out to Eric Wallace in the chat, a very faithful, a very adamant Seahawks fan. I was going to say faithful Seahawks fan, but faithful is Niners. You know what I'm saying? Like,
hey, yo, what up, 12s?
Yeah, right. There you go. Hey, that's good. It's an NFC chat. You know, it's not like it's the Niners channel right now.
Oh, we're on your show. It's a Niners channel.
Speaking of, let's before we kind of get into kind of what our teams are really doing, let's talk about, let's go more. We were just talking about the Rams. What is your thought about the Cardinals? Like, it seems like they're not
screwed.
And I think they're screwed. And it's like, how are they screwed? They're not even close to like the situation the Rams are in, but I think they're in a worse situation, because at least the Rams are like cutting all this stuff and going to get back to new really quick.
Yeah, but it's like, what do the Cardinals even have? Like, how do they not have cap space, if that makes sense? I mean, how are they not like the Bears and have like an insane amount of cap space? Because if you look at their roster, I can name Budda Baker, Byron Murphy just left, Kyler, and DeAndre Hopkins is trying to get out of town. So it's not like they have insane pieces on their team.
Well, they gave Kyler the bag when he hadn't done shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So you're kind of handicapping yourself right there.
Yeah, no. I was actually going to bring that up to you. I was going to say, the Niners are going to have like 3 wins this season, and they're probably going to beat each of us one time, just because that's how those division games go.
The Niners will, or the Cardinals?
Oh, the Cardinals will probably have like 3 wins this year, and they'll beat the Seahawks once and the Niners once.
It could be. I don't know. It seems like Kyler's not coming back for like half the season. So
At
they're
least
going to be in.
I thought he was kind of out like most of the season, and especially if the season's gone for them, why does he even want to come back? And he doesn't seem like one of
Dude,
those guys that's like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but he doesn't seem like one of those guys that like absolutely lives and dies to play football, you know?
no. Like there was a God, what year was it? It might have been 2020. So this COVID year.
Hmm.
We had a bad season. Everybody was hurt and this and that. Kittle comes back for like the last 2 games, and there's like no reason to come back.
Yeah,
And
I think I remember that.
someone asked him, so why come back with the injury? He's like, look, I'm a football player. We play football. Like you don't you don't just sit it out, even if you can't win. You show up, you play. It's like you gotta do it for the guys next to you.
Yeah,
Could you hear me?
exactly. But Kyler doesn't seem like one of those guys. He seems, I
Not at
mean, and
all.
I don't know the guy personally. I can't say, but just from the outside looking in, he seems like kind of more of like a selfish type, like a very me centric type, kind of like.
Definitely.
So why would he even want to come back? Say they're 2-6 or 2-7 by the time he's ready to come back. I don't think he's coming back.
I think he would, being two and
You
seven,
think?
because this is the thing. At that point, the season's already going horribly. So what can he do? He
Yeah.
can come in and just like keep up, or he can have a chance to make it better and be the hero again. And he knows okay, how to put this. He's very, I think self-centered, but I think he's very aware at certain things and how to read certain parts of the room
Unlike
and
Russell
knowing
Wilson.
when he's got to do certain things to keep everybody cool with him. You know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, maybe I've been a little bit too much. They're kind of getting mad at me. Oh, I better just, do something I don't want to. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that would make sense. And he seems like the type of guy that, the season's going shitty and then he comes back and they start off with 2 wins, they end with 7 or something. And everybody's going, "Oh, look at Kyler."
I have a feeling. What's the guy everybody's talking about going number one? I'm so horrible with this. Going
CJ
number one.
Stroud,
Was it CJ?
Bryce
No,
Young.
Bryce Young.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if Kyler's play is affecting Bryce Young's draft position, his draft capital, or like his
You mean like Kyler's good play or like his
his bad
shortcomings?
play. So I'm wondering if, because he's short, right? So I'm wondering if people think that him and his play, like, because sometimes he could deliver, real nice balls, but in the pocket, he's not very good. You know what I mean? Because it's hard for him
No.
to see. So
No, it's tough, and you've seen it with Russ, right? I mean,
yeah,
he
but
worked his way
Russ
around it, but
Russ was able to work his way around it. I don't think,
Mhm.
but I think Russ did enough work to know, even if he didn't know essentially where everybody was, if he knew what was going on pre-snap before he didn't, he could almost essentially figure out where everybody would be. And when he's staring between the line, he could see his receiver, you know what I mean? And know, okay, well then the safety should be over there. Even though I can't see him, the safety should be over there, because if I can't see them, they can't see me. So how are they going to be able to
Mhm.
look into my eyes, figure out who I'm going for? And then,
Yeah.
boom. So I think there was more of that, but I don't think Kyler does any like studying or any type of outside, and I think that's what's going to hurt him, because there's no
No, to
there's
be
no re-
any NFL quarterback, I mean, look at Peyton Manning. He wasn't athletically gifted, I don't think.
no,
Really, he wasn't. He threw ducks. He did, but he was like the smartest guy and the most prepared guy in the NFL.
yeah, yeah,
And I mean, Tom Brady, he's not a physical freak, right? But they're
no,
all smart and they study. So,
exactly. And they also have a high standard of excellence. You know what I mean?
yeah.
There's the bar, and there's not acceptable. You know what I'm saying? And the bar's up there. You know what I'm saying? So there's no, hey, you're doing good for you. No, it's the bar or it's nothing.
Yeah, and that's another thing about those certain guys like that.
And
I'd
they hold
rather have a
themselves to
guy
the
that,
same standard. You know, that's the big thing.
well, on the field they may chew everybody's ass, right? But after the game, if everything doesn't go right, they take all the blame. I mean, on the field, yeah, Peyton and Tom would chew everybody's ass, but after the game, you didn't hear him saying, "Oh, well, so and so should have ran this, or so and so should have done this."
They fell on their sword. They also did all the prep work. They did everything they needed to put their team in a good situation, and that's probably why they would chew their teammates out, because it's like, we did the work on this. You knew this is what we were doing. Why didn't you do it the way we were supposed to? Because it's not like when you get out there, it's not like lots of things are surprises. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And some of the most mistakes are just, mental errors, where people just weren't thinking about what they were supposed to, and they made mental errors. You know what I mean? And, or, certain things when you have to think about something, it makes you slow. You know what I mean? So if you hesitate, even with quarterbacks, like,
Yeah.
Brock Purdy, he hesitated. He could have thrown that ball. If he would have thrown that ball early, different outcome to the NFC championships and the Super Bowl.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I think I don't know. I don't think, back to Kyler. I don't think Kyler's one of those guys. I don't think he's a dog at all. I mean,
No,
he's an athlete. He's not a football player, if that makes sense. Well, he's obviously a football player, but in his mentality, he's more of an athlete than a football player.
me personally, I don't like personalities, kind of like what I think Kyler's personality is like not even for like a bridge quarterback or anything like that, because it just seems toxic. And you can bring someone in, and your locker room can be fine beforehand. Bring someone in like that, one person doesn't like them, the other person's like, oh, I'll give him a chance. Then those two people are out of odds just because that person came into the locker room before they were perfectly fine. You know what I mean? I don't like it. And on our offense, you can't be selfish on our offense. Like, you got Brandon Ayuk, you got Deebo Samuel, you got Juice, you got Kittle, you got Christian McCaffrey. All those people could be the number one on any team. And you're talking about they all have to share time. And they
have to coexist.
Yeah, and they're all selfless about it. And you can't have a quarterback come in and talk about me, 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 and all them go, look, bro, if it's going to be anybody, it's going to be you last. We all been here first. If anybody go get me, me, me treatment, it's going to be one of us. You know what I mean?
Well, and I think that's why players like Odell shouldn't go to the 40. I don't think there's such thing as too many mouths to feed as far as weapons, but there is such thing as too many mouths to feed when there's too many personalities, or there's such thing as too many selfish personalities. Because the Niners, you never hear them bitching. I mean, with the Seahawks, I mean, to a far lesser extent, if we win, we win. You don't hear Tyler or DK bitching about, oh, I didn't get the ball.
It's a different type of locker room presence, though. Like each coach has their own way of how they run things. You know what I mean? And Kyle's works well for his team because he drafts people for that, and it brings people in who are essentially the same mentality. And same thing with Pete. Pete doesn't care about your personality. Everybody will work on the team. You know what I mean? It's just how loosely you let people go, not go, but how loosely you hold people within a certain circle. You know what I mean? It's different. You know what I mean? Like the Niners, it's kind of more that you can't be all on top of like all the Seahawks players because of their personalities, because they're just going to act out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
but on the 40,
they do. But you notice they never bash the team until they leave, and then they bash the team, and then they come crawling back. That's what happens.
It's like, even when things aren't right, like even Marshawn come over and say what's up to Pete. Sherman came over to say what's up to Pete. You know what I mean? Like there's you're still going to have that. So it seems like they're good places for players to be, but they're just different. You know what I mean? Like you
Yeah,
can't.
exactly.
I don't know if you could have a DK on our team.
No, you don't think so? Too much?
No. Well, he's, like he gets stupid penalties every now and then, or like he'll, like that one time where he cost him a touchdown, and then he cost him he put that ball behind his hand. They knocked it out of his hand on the 1 yard line, and then they scored a touchdown. So in other words, like he lost the team 14 points.
I don't
You know what I'm saying? He got it.
that?
I don't know which one it was, but he ended up getting more touchdowns to make up for it later. But the point is on our team, that wouldn't fly. Like people would have him in the locker room going like, "Hey, you leave that other shit for after you score. You make sure you get to the pay dirt first, where you start making any sort of, you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't fly on our team."
You're talking about when he got the ball knocked out on like the 1 yard line. That was against the Cowboys like 2 years ago. Yeah, exactly. That that was the only time he ever did it.
and it should be the last. You know what I mean? But that type of stuff, or like the penalties. I know he gets penalties every now and then, but it's not like it's like for fighting or doing something stupid. It's not like for like pushing off trying to get a ball at a crucial point in time. You know what I mean? It's not something that I'd be like, I'll justify that. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to go for the ball. You know what I'm saying? I can, if you're gonna cause a penalty, like a holding call on an offensive lineman, you're gonna save your quarterback from getting thrown into the dirt. Like I'm okay with that. Hold that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. And there is two completely different mindsets because even in the LOB days, I mean, it's always been the same. Like we straight up like those 15-yard penalties have killed us.
Yeah.
But
and that's
I gotta say one more thing. I think DK is the only NFL player that I've ever seen get ejected from a game and try to come back in 2 plays later. He did it against the Packers. They ejected him, but they didn't announce it. Like, how usually they'll say number 14 is ejected from the game.
Yes.
So he got ejected from a game in Green Bay, right? And we lost already. It was like the last drive, like 1 minute left. We were down like 17-0. And so he gets in a fight with somebody, runs off the sideline. 2 plays later, he comes back in. They go, "No, you're out." But I think it's the only time I've ever seen a player actually get ejected and then just come back.
Yeah. No, that's hilarious. And that's not on him.
Yeah, back to Kyler. I think the Cardinals are the least scary team in the division. 100%. Even less.
I don't know. It depends because you're talking about, is Matt Stafford coming back? We don't even know that.
Yeah, so, I guess you are correct.
If you got no Stafford all year, you know what I mean? Who are they drafting at quarterback that they're going to plug and play? Who are they going to find? It's not looking good. At least the Cardinals will have Kyler for like a half a year probably.
It's just so crazy that 2 years ago, 2 years ago it was like, oh, the Rams are in championship contention. Oh, look at the Cardinals. And then those teams' decline have been so fast. Like, it's not even funny. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, the Cardinals, I don't know. It seemed like it all unraveled that year that they went like 10-0 or 9-0, and then yeah, 21. It seemed like they put all their chips in there. It didn't seem like they were screwing themselves with contracts. I don't know what's going on with them. I think it's the team. We'll see, like under the new coach, what happens. They got the defensive coordinator from the Eagles.
Yeah, I don't know his name. I do know he's the defensive coordinator from the Eagles. Speaking of which, so our first round pick, he was a total bust in, what would it have been, 2019, LJ Collier. And we didn't pick up his 5th-year option, obviously. He's just not a scheme fit anymore anyways. And
because you're moving honestly, to the 3-4?
Multiple, yeah. We talked about it. It's just they run, yeah. They run a bunch of different defenses, right? So, But anyway, so he signs with and his agent totally took a shot at the Seahawks, like, oh, this is a much better organization. I'm like, the Cardinals. He took a shot at the Seahawks. I was like, you are kidding me. You know what I
We
mean?
saw where the Cardinals ranked out of all the amenities and stuff for the players. We saw where the Cardinals ranked, and they were down there. Like, you guys were what, almost middle of the pack.
We
Like,
were.
the Cardinals were.
Our travel was an F, and part of me thinks that's just because we, obviously we travel a longer distance than anybody else in the league, but I guess we weren't putting them on like first class or something, and they got first class on the way back if we won. Stuff like that. That's a total Pete Carroll thing, though. That sounds like a typical college coach. So,
I'm sorry, I'm not doing first class. These are guys. We're talking about to and from the game. I want them totally focused. I don't want him on any other type of, it doesn't make sense to me to do crap like that. I want the last thing in somebody's mind how we're getting to the fucking game. You know what I mean?
yeah, well, I thought it was funny. So under like you could like read about why they scored what or whatever, and they go the Seahawks only offered first class seats if they won the game and on the way back, and it's like, okay, well, that sounds legit to me. I mean, sounds like a good reward.
So if you won the game, why not fly first class? Why not fly first class to the next game? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I
can
see the little carrot, but
yeah,
yes, like, you get those guys to and from as comfortably as possible. It just makes more sense.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like even the gladiators who were fighting to the death back in the day were like pampered. You know what I mean? Because they saw how much it helped in the performance. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
Not like they were, but they got like massages. They got, good food. They got, they were set up because that was beneficial to them. It makes no sense.
Did you see?
The 49ers don't have enough tubs. We don't have enough. We don't have enough soaking tubs, and we're the most physical freaking team in the league. Doesn't make sense. We should have more than fixed.
I thought a bunch of those were kind of BS, like a bunch of those complaints. Except the one that I did think was absolutely ridiculous was the Cardinals making their players pay for their meals, taking them out of their checks. Like, are you kidding me? 31 other teams.
Bro, that's just so I'm telling you to take food home if I'm the team or the coach, because I know I'm buying you the healthy organic food that's going to make your body better, right? So it's in my best interest if I pay a little bit more and make sure you go home with a little extra food to make sure you're eating the right stuff instead of Doritos. You know what I'm saying? Or Taco Bell.
Yeah,
so
that was just,
if I could do that,
that was just so ridiculous.
This is how Super Bowls are won.
Yeah, I mean, and they're the only team. The Washington football team is playing for their players' meals, and the Arizona Cardinals can't. Like that. You're like,
yeah, Dan
okay,
Snyder's
well,
cheap as shit.
Yeah, I mean, we had poop pipes bursting during the game. I mean, they can't. The railing collapsed. I mean, that place is a joke. And obviously they were down there at the bottom of the pack too. But yeah, the Cardinals, I couldn't even see why they would be until you read about it. But I thought it was cool they did that this year. I thought that was really cool. It kind of gives you something to talk about,
Oh yeah, well, not just that, but if you're one of those teams that are up on the list, it kind of gives you a better draw from better players. Because why do I want to get the same amount of money and go to this team when I could go to this team and they've got like all these good amenities? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, and if you suck ass at what you're doing, it gives you a chance for those teams to get better, right? So I don't think there was anything wrong with it.
No, I think like look, when I found out we didn't have enough soaking tubs, we all started talking about that because it's no, really think about it. Look how physical the 49ers are. They practice like
Yeah.
they play. So you're talking about all the time they are hitting as hard as they're playing. And though
Mm-hmm.
that you need more soaking tubs. You need everybody needs to soak in a tub after a practice like that or a game like that. You know what I mean? So just get the fucking tubs. Just get them.
Yeah, they have enough money. The thing is,
Yeah.
every team on this list has enough money to make sure every one of those grades is an A. You know, it's not like there's a
Yes.
shortage of resources. So, and everybody talks,
Yes.
well, they're like, oh, well, the Bidwells, the Cardinals owner, they don't have a lot of money. Well, who owns the Packers? The season ticket
The
holders of the
people.
Packers. Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
you mean to tell me that Michael Bidwell doesn't have more money than them? They make it work,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, they're the salary cap is a thing, so the owners can always make millions of dollars.
Mhm.
You know what I'm saying? That's why the salary cap is in place. Essentially, it's obviously so other people can't pay people more, but what is that? That's one owner saying, "Hey, I don't care about this money. Fuck it. I'm going to get me a player." And that's another owner going, "I don't want to have to spend that money to compete." So they've
Mhm.
come up with a way to stop anybody from being able to spend more than another one so you can always continuously make millions of dollars.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. But yeah, no, I just don't. What do you think the outcome for the Cardinals slash Rams will be next year? I mean, what are you thinking?
I don't know. Sean McVay has got more of a chance than a new coach coming off the street and having to deal with a Kyler Murray. So I happen to think that the Rams, even though they are going to be gutted and starting all over again for the most part,
Mhm.
I think they might actually be more competitive than the Cardinals because the Cardinals are going to be without Kyler for a little while. Then you got Kyler coming back, and he's going to have, I'm guessing, a new offensive coordinator also.
Yeah.
So and a defensive minded coach. So who knows how that will play out.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's like, who knows if Matt Stafford comes back? I was never super impressed with Stafford, to be completely honest. So, what does that mean? Only four teams in their own stadium. Oh, only four teams own their stadium.
Yeah. Which look, I don't like Jerry Jones at all, but I appreciate that Jerry Jones paid for his own damn stadium.
Yeah. I mean, you obviously get it because you live up here too. You know what happened with the Sonics? I mean, they
Yeah.
sign these leases. You build these stadiums for these teams, and they can leave after their lease is up, and or in the Sonics case, leave before their lease is up because somebody from out of town buys them.
Yep.
So, I mean,
And
thank
that's
God.
why I'll never watch basketball again.
Yeah, yeah, I'm with you. But I mean, us,
I
we're in
I
great
my
situation. So we have great fan bases. We don't
my
really have to worry about that. But imagine being like a Jaguars fan, having to worry about, oh, is my team going to move to London? That would suck. I would never. I'm not a basketball fan in the first place, but I feel bad for those people around here that were Sonics fans. Like that was
I
their
bas-
team.
basketball wasn't my like first love, but I appreciated the Sonics. I liked watching Sonics games. It was another sport to watch.
Hmm.
When football was around. Baseball doesn't really do it for me unless I'm in the stands. So, or I'm watching John Boy. John Boy, shout out to John Boy.
John
If
Boy Mania.
y'all don't,
Yeah.
bro,
He
that
under he uncovered the Astros cheating, dude. That guy deserves the Astros pennant. They need to decline default it. They need to give it to John Boy Media. He discovered that.
dude, John Boy's just hilarious, and he shows me why I don't watch baseball. You know what I mean? Because like all the petty stuff with the umps and I just, you know what I mean? Like that's why I don't. But no, I loved watching basketball, and especially the Supersonics. They were the team watching that team. They were fun to watch. You know what I mean? They didn't, win championships or anything. They're fun to watch, and they just got ripped up and taken away. And I was like, screw you guys, screw basketball altogether. I don't even care. You know what I mean? And if the Sonics come back, I'll attempt to watch basketball again. But I don't know. Basketball's kind of changed as far as I've seen, and it's not the I don't know, it's not the basketball of the old days that I liked, where it was kind of one on, even though you're on a team, it was like a one-on-one matchup in the lane with somebody. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's just who's best. There were sick moves. Now it's just like three-pointer, get in position to 3-point, get in position to screen for a 3-point. And I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
and it feels like the Sonics players, they were a lot more approachable than like most other. I don't know if it's just NBA players. They seem
Gary
a lot
Payton
more
was a
like
prick.
in person.
Oh yeah, my buddy Chris.
Yeah, so during the Dragons' first game, the XFL game, me and my friend, we sat 2 rows behind Sean Kemp, and I swear to God, I'm not making this up. Some guy comes up to me and goes, "Dude, you know who that is?" And I go, "Yeah." He goes, "I can't believe Mutombo's here."
Oh my God.
What are you talking about?
It's the Rain Man, bitch.
I go, "Dude, that's Sean Kemp." And 3 days later, he's in that thing at the Tacoma Mall. And I texted my friend that went with me. I go, "Man, thank God we didn't go up and say hi to him. Who knows what would happen?"
No, bro. Once I heard it was in Tacoma, I was like, now wait, pump the brakes. There might be a reasonable explanation for this.
And there was. There actually kind of was. So
yes,
I mean,
because Tacoma is a very bad place.
yeah, no, I don't
You know what I'm
Tacoma.
saying? Oh, bro. I went to Tacoma one time. My friend had just gotten a house, and she's like, we need her and her man were like, we need firewood. Well, he was off at work, so I'm there to help be the muscle for her, right? So because he was like, "Hey, can you help my girl?" Yeah. So she brings along somebody who's, I don't know who this is. We go down to Hilltop area, trying to find this wood. Okay, the wood's not there. I guess somebody already sold the wood to somebody else. So we have to now. We're trying to find, and this lady we brought along is like, well, you're gonna get us some other wood. I'm like, we're in Hilltop, bitch. Don't get us fucking shot. Like,
Yeah,
I was like, oh
yeah,
my
no,
gosh.
Tacoma sketches me out. And I'm different than you. I'm not closer to Seattle than I am Tacoma. I'm 40 minutes to each one, and I'll go to Seattle 10 times out of 10 before I go to Tacoma. So,
Oh, I'd much rather be in Seattle. I'd much rather be in a tent encampment with homeless people in Seattle than in a mall parking lot in Tacoma.
oh, for sure, that's Tacoma Mall.
Oh
I've been
yeah.
there a couple times. I
I
don't
feel a
go
lot
inside,
safer. I feel a lot safer.
but
Um,
But yeah, no, I think the Cardinals will probably finish 4th, depending on if Stafford comes back or not. Because who do they have playing
yes.
quarterback? But then again, at the first half of the season, who do the Cardinals having? Do they have Colt McCoy back? Is that going to be their day one starter? Or
I don't know. We got to find ourselves a Cardinals guy. What up, Joey Mahoney?
yeah, we do. What about those D backs? You said the Niners have been signing.
Oh, geez. We got, what's his name? Oliver. We got. I was looking for them too. I can't remember all the freaking names. Should have probably reported them all week.
What the Seahawks are doing is, like you saw firsthand, we cannot stop the run whatsoever. I mean, it just, we couldn't. We were 30th in the league in run defense, and I mean, it showed watching the game. I mean, it made our linebackers look worse. So we're just completely overhauling our defensive line, which I think is a good thing. We cut Al Woods, Poona Ford's gone. We basically just gutted the whole front line. And we got Draymond
Yeah, what's
Jones.
up with Al Woods? Some people in my community was like, "Hey, should we kick the tires on Al Woods?" So I just kind of wanted to.
Here's my way of looking at it, right? So everybody, I mean, he had a good season. I mean, everybody thought he had a great season. He's a nose tackle. He's not. He's huge. He's a nose tackle, and when you anchor the center of a defensive line that is 30th against the run, I don't fault them for getting rid of him. He's 35 years old too, so I think he'll be 36 next season. I don't know if I'd give him a shot. If I were you guys seem pretty set up, but why not, right? Need depth.
Well,
He's not going to be a starter.
Kind of what we've been looking for is we need a kind of a run stuffer on first and second down, a nice thick boy.
No,
Like
I think he'd be good for that. I think their idea was, though, we just need to tear this thing down and start fresh, if that makes sense. He was a captain on the team, and I think we're definitely trying to get younger. I think he was by far like the oldest player on our defense last year. So I don't know. Yeah, he's great against the run. I mean,
let me explain something to you. It's kind of weird. So the Niners in their run stopping defense, right? They're usually up there as far as stopping the run, right? So a 4-3 defense is weaker against the run than a 3-4.
Yeah, because we run
a wide nine type of line that we have is even worse against the run. So us being able to have a 4-3 and run the wide nine and still be able to be that good on the run is just amazing. So it's one of the reason is personnel. You can't do that without the right personnel. You know what I mean? It's not just scheme, it's personnel. So that's why it's kind of like we need a big. We usually like our big thick boys to be nice and quick. It got got wheels on him. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to play in basketball. Like he's thick, he's short, but he got some wheels on him. Like I don't want to play against him. Like he gonna make me look stupid.
If I was you guys, rather than if you take somebody from our team, rather than Al Woods, especially in the 4-3, I go with Puna Ford. He's like 5'11". Like he's a pardon.
Oh, you like Puna better, huh?
Yeah, I think Puna would be more of a fit with you guys. Or, we just cut Shelby Harris. He can play the inside and play the run. There are a couple big guys. I don't know if I would go for Al Woods, to be completely honest. Just the age, and I mean, like how big he is. He's a nose tackle. He's not
yeah.
He's not lining up on the guards with us. He was playing a true nose tackle. I mean, we came out in bare front a lot. The bare front, it's when the center's covered and both the guards are covered, and then you have two outside linebackers playing up on the line, right? And that is like supposed to be the best run defense. I mean, as far as fits go, and we're 30th against the run last year. I mean, we had to do something to upgrade that D line.
See, yes and no, because if you're trying to run up the gut, that bear defense is going to be great for that. If you're trying to run right downhill, you know what I mean? If they're trying to go outside on you at all, that's great for that, because you can have somebody crack down on that end, and then all the tackle has to do is really just turn and help the guard. You know what I mean? You've sealed off that whole side. So, you know what I mean? It's not just the formation. It's got to be the scheme. It's got to be the people you have. If you got an outside linebacker that, like in a certain situation like that, if you're going to run something like that and you're thinking it's going to be a rundown, right? So why not have like somebody that's normally like a regular D end in like a 4-3 be your outside linebackers in that situation, because they're not going to get thrown around as much. You know what I mean?
And that's
like an actual true outside linebacker.
So our outside linebackers are really just 4-3 defensive ends, if that makes sense. That's what. Thank you. That's what we. That's what we drafted him to be, and Darrell Taylor is a big one. He's just a 4-3 D end. I don't. In our defense, and outside linebacker is defensive end. Oh, you guys got Isaiah Oliver from the Falcons, right?
Yes. And then who was the guy we picked up from the this is so bad of me, I'm gonna have to ask the chat this. Who's the guy we picked up from Carolina who plays nickel/safety? we got a lot of the guys that can play more than one role. I believe Joe, or I believe Isaiah Oliver, he plays corner, outside corner, and nickel. So we got a lot of guys that can plug and play, and it seems like our new defensive coordinator's kind of getting all the little unpolished gems he thinks that are around the league. That's what it seemed like he was doing. He's just coming in, he's like, I want that guy, I want that guy, I want that guy. And it seems like that's what's been happening. I don't know what we're going to do in the draft, because we thought we were going to be drafted some guys, and we picked up some free agents already. So I don't know how. And some people are talking about screw all them picks and only use about 4 of those picks this year and save the rookie contract money for splash DN money, like Yannick Ngakoue, and then just try and get like a tight end, right tackle, a safety, and maybe a kicker, depending on what they're going for. But that's what they're like. Let's just do that. Maybe another DB, a cornerback. Like, let's just, because we're just going to get our running backs, hopefully undrafted free agents this year, because like, if you want running backs, if you can figure out who the Niners are talking to and who they're going to try and get as an undrafted free agent, we got Jordan Mason last year, and Kyle Shanahan had to give up on his 3rd round pick from the previous year because Jordan Mason was so damn good that they couldn't try and hide Jordan Mason on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And so they were like, we just got to cut you because, I think they tried to hide him on the practice squad, or Trey Sermon on the practice squad, but he got claimed off waivers. But they might have cut him too. But like, we get good guys in the draft or undrafted all year in running backs. But you got to have we got Bobby Turner. We got Bobby Turner as a running back coach, and he's like an 80-year-old running back savant coach. You know what I mean? Like, he sees things in guys. He's like, that's a winner. That's a winner. That's a winner. You know what I mean? It's like they only need a couple things that they need to do right. And he's like, I could work with him. I could work with him. Everything else, I could work with him, just as long as he's got these couple traits. It's crazy. Bobby Turner.
And they always have great running backs. The 49ers do. I think you guys were on like your 4th string running back 2 years ago or something, right? And he still killed it. I don't remember his name or whatever, but I just remember hearing that, And some teams it's not like that. Look at the Ravens. They were on like their 4th string running back and they didn't do shit. So
we had, oh gosh, I'm feeling bad. We had everybody went down this year, and then we were down to, oh shit, can't remember his name.
Elijah Mitchell.
No, because Mitchell already went down. We were down to somebody you probably hadn't heard of, but then we traded him to the Dolphins after we got CMC, and we were able to get good capital off of him. And you're talking, no, Mostert signed over there. We didn't trade him to them. He signed as a free agent with them. It was what's his name? It was Richie James. Was it Richie James Jr.? Or was it who was it? No, it wasn't.
No,
Richie
I think
James.
Richie James ended up with the Giants because he fumbled a couple kicks when we played him.
Richie James Jr. is fun. That guy. He hadn't played all one game, and Kyle's like, let's put Richie James in. Let's send him in on this play. And next thing you know, boom, to the house. Hadn't played all game. They just something that they saw. It was like, this play would probably be great for Richie James Jr. right now. Richie, go on in there. Boom, to the house. Kyle is so weird like that. Have you heard about Kittle talking about how like Kyle will tell him like, just look over your shoulder and make your cut up field, and don't worry, nobody will be behind you. And it's just like, you look over the shoulder, the DB's like, oh, he's looking for the ball. That means it's this route. So the DB steps up, and then George Kittle immediately turns around and goes over the shoulder. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's not cutting it flat. He's going upfield then at that point. So he's like, that's how some of these get open. It's Kyle telling him, hey, this is the scheme that's going down, but you also got to sell this move. So it's some freaky shit.
Yeah.
Jeff Wilson Jr. That's what it was. Shout out Joseph Mahomey, Jeff Wilson Jr. You never heard of that guy ever before? I don't think he was drafted.
I only heard of him because I'm pretty sure. Yeah, like you said, he got traded or something. That's the only. I couldn't tell you what he looks like if he was standing right next to me. So
been on our team for years. Been undrafted free agent. Been on and off the practice squad. We were able to, not only was he like the best running back in the league pretty much at that point in time, you know what I mean? Like he was the hottest hand in the league as far as rushing yards at the time. And we dealt him and we got Christian McCaffrey. Well, we got Christian McCaffrey and then we dealt him. So it's like, we always got a room. Oh, hey, shout out that beer to everybody. Let them know what you're drinking on.
Oh, this by Ruben's Brews.
Give it the name.
Crushable by Ruben's Brews.
There you go.
But I think God, what was I going to say? I think our defensive front will be a lot. They can't get much worse, if that makes sense. They can drop down to 32, but they can't do much worse than they did last year. They had to do something about it. And then we signed this safety, Julian Love, from the Giants, and so Jamal Adams is now the fourth best safety on our team because we had Ryan Neal, played great last year. He actually graded number 1 in Pro Football Focus. And then Quandre, I don't think he's going anywhere, and we got this guy. So I think they're gonna play. They're gonna play Jamal more like a positionless linebacker type, if that makes sense. And it's until he gets hurt.
I never thought he was a good safety. So I thought he was he's like a Debo of the defense. Like he's not great at one thing, but he's a weapon to have out there. You know what I mean? Like he's not like Debo. He's not your starting wide receiver. He's not your wide receiver 1. He can't run those routes as good as other wide receivers, but you get him in space and there's nobody else you want to have the ball in his hands. You know what I'm saying? So like,
I'll just be completely honest. Jamal Adams probably has the worst ball skills out of any defensive back I've ever seen in my life. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. He had that game against the Steelers a couple of years ago where he just took one off his face mask. I mean, it would have been like 30 yards until anybody touched him, right? Pick this ball off. Nope, it hits him right in the face mask. And they go, oh, well, he broke his finger. Well, okay. Well, it hit him in the face mask. His hands didn't even touch it. He played about a half of football last year against the Broncos week 1. Took a ball to the face mask, and then he tore up his knee real bad. He's more of like a linebacker type. He's a decent tackler. He makes good angles. He's really fast. But if they keep him, we'll see on June 2nd because he might be one of those guys. After June 1st, I think they can save like $8 million or something by cutting him.
I never liked the trade. I thought it was too much for a position that you really didn't need to go all in on. You know what I mean? Like, there was so many other positions you could have made and gave away that capital for. And, like a defensive lineman, you could have got a terror.
They traded for him what I would have traded for like Nick Bosa or Khalil Mack in his prime, right?
Facts.
They gave up way too much for him.
Yeah.
So, if they cut him after June 1st, it will by far be the worst trade in this franchise's history, which sucks. I mean, it's so weird because we can usually nail free agents pretty good. We can always do the draft pretty good, but trades, I mean, we end up the Jimmy Graham trade sucked. The Percy Harvin trade, the only reason why you could remotely say it was worth a first round pick is because his kick returned for a touchdown in the Super Bowl. But just going back to this regime, I mean, they've been around forever since 2010, and the 3 big trades they made have sucked. So,
yeah, and I don't understand why, with how you draft, like when you first came out, you drafted extremely well. I think it's kind of, except with the exception of last year. I think last year you guys did a fucking great, like it was like your first year all over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I thought you did good enough to where it would have been better just to keep those picks and use them in the draft with your draft. Because like you guys find good gems, here and there. Each year is different, but you you always got somebody in the secondary who's blowing it up. You know what I mean? You always got a young guy in the secondary who's just tearing things up.
Well, they
And
find those guys like Quandre Diggs. He's a decent ball player. He's an awesome. He's not Earl Thomas playing center field, but he's serviceable, right? He's good. He's made the Pro Bowl a few times or a couple times since he's been here. But it's like we traded for him for a 5th-round draft pick or something like that. But whenever we throw 1st-round picks around, it just does not work. So
see,
I don't
we don't draft well with 1st-round picks. Like, we are just really kind of bad with it for the most part.
Well, neither do we. Ever since 2013, we haven't in the 1st-round picks, but you also got to look at where you're picking in the 1st round. If you're doing really good and you're picking 25 every year, you can't expect to hit on all of them, if that makes sense.
But look, that's not necessarily true, because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where you're picking. You can always find somebody who's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't matter if you're going down to somebody who's expected to be in the 3rd round. If you know that person's a winner, like, everybody will hate you then. We were talking about this last night. Everybody will hate you now, but it's what people can talk about later. So if the person doesn't pan out, that's what somebody's going to talk about later. So it's like the 49ers, they always kind of like they reach for needs. And that's what everybody gets so mad at them, because there's other people who are good matches for the team, essentially, but not necessarily what you want at that spot. But there's good, that have worked out, and we just always seem to shit the bed until it comes to the 4th round, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th round. You got to watch out. If you can figure out who we're picking up in those rounds, you steal them before we can, because that's the smartest move you can ever do.
And I think that's like what you said, the Seahawks draft last year was awesome, right? Because I think they finally ripped it down to the studs, right? And restarted everything. So they can take the best available player instead of going for, we really need to fill the spot here, right? 2 first for a safety, you can't cover it. Yeah, I know, Tommy. I completely get it. Everybody in Seattle says the exact same thing. I mean, his first game here, we played the Falcons on the road, and it was like the first COVID game we had, so no fans or whatever. And he totally lit it up, and we go, oh my God, now I know what they saw, right? He's just making open field tackles like crazy. And then just ever since then, it just, it hasn't been worth it. So.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems too much for not enough. You know what I mean? Like, he's a force to be reckoned with out there on the field. Like, I wouldn't want to be a receiver and go up and catch a ball and then get hit in the ribs by him. You know what I mean? He's flying around. No. But at the same time, like, if you're going to be out there in any sort of position other than the defensive line, you need to know how to cover somebody.
Yeah.
Like, you need to have some sort of covering skills.
Well, especially strong safety, it's a little different than free safety, but safety, you're supposed to be the last. Nobody's supposed to be past you. Yeah, there was a point in time when Vince Wilfork had more career interceptions than Jamal Adams, but also Jamal Adams had more sacks in his career than Vince Wilfork. So take that for what it's worth.
Now, I know another stat too. DK Metcalf has more tackles in his career than Emmanuel Acho did ever in his whole career. Well, actually, I would say he's got more in one. DK Metcalf has more tackles in one game than Emmanuel Acho has had over his whole career. You know Emmanuel Acho, the talking head on TV?
No, I don't, to be honest.
Oh, you're so lucky. If you ever see somebody talking about Emmanuel Acho and this guy starts talking, just turn it off. The guy is just such a twit. All he does is he talks well. And like, the stuff that comes out of his mouth isn't that good. You know what I mean?
Is he a player?
He used to be. He played for like, I don't know. I think he was on one team for like 2 years, or maybe it was 2 teams for like 2 years. I think he played or got into 1 or 2 games. He's never has a tackle. So he has like no tackles whatsoever. And then he talks, like he has all these big, huge opinions. Essentially what happened was he started this like podcast where he like uncomfortable conversations with the black man. That was the name of it. And Oprah saw it and she gave him the nod. Now he's like on ESPN or whatever. And it's like, oh my God, really? Which is funny because it shows, I think he said something like, I don't even want to be looked at as black man. But then he's got like this show that says uncomfortable conversations with the black man. It's like, well, if you don't want to be, which I
Yeah,
can
don't call
understand, like,
yourself that.
hey, you know what I'm saying? I can understand, like, hey, I don't want to be known as just a black. I just want to be Ryan. You know what I mean? I just want to be known as Ryan. I'm a person. I get that. But then to turn around and have your whole thing be anchored on something where it says something different is just hilarious.
Yeah, that's your brand. But yeah, one thing I want to talk to you about too is we got Devin Bush from the Steelers, and one thing that the Seahawks have been doing this offseason, which I absolutely love, is they're just overall getting younger. He's 24. He hasn't been great with the Steelers other than his rookie year. But you know what? If you're a linebacker and you fail with Mike Tomlin and then you fail with Pete Carroll, you're probably not worth a shit. So we signed him to a 1 year, like $2 million deal or something like that. So we'll see. Jordan Brooks, our inside linebacker, he probably will miss the beginning of the season. I don't think it stops them from bringing Bobby Wagner back. So
you're holding out hope, huh?
Yeah, I think most people are.
I don't think he's coming back. I think the ship has sailed. I think he's coming back for a 1-day contract. Feel me?
Yeah.
But it's not this year.
So we don't retire players' numbers unless they played their whole career here and they're in the Hall of Fame. I think he is the one guy will retire his number. He played somebody else, or played somewhere else, and will still retire his number.
I think it's stupid not to because players don't have control over that all the time. And it's like, oh, you didn't want to bow to us, so you went somewhere else to get money that you think you deserve. Oh, so now you can't be on a Ring of Honor. That just seems like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems petty. I think you should, like we've had Joe Montana went to the Chiefs. Joe Montana is more of a Chiefs fan than he is a Niners fan because he's so butthurt about getting tossed to the side for Steve Young. And I
was hearing about that. Yeah.
Oh my God, what an ornery bastard he's been.
But yeah, no, I mean they'll put players in a Ring of Honor like Sean Alexander, Matt Hasselbeck, but yeah, no, nobody's had their number retired unless they're in the Hall of Fame and they played their whole career here.
Yeah,
but
Bobby.
Yeah, Bobby will be the one player to get it. We're not retiring number 3, I can tell you that, unless something drastically changes in the next 10 years.
Yeah, so. I don't know. Bro, like I think the ship sailed on that altogether. Like I think he knows not to come back. It's funny because he went and bought part of the Sounders, and it's like, oh, how's that going to work out now?
He did a while ago. That was a long time ago he did that. And yeah, somebody brought that up on KJR the other day, and I was like, yeah, I kind of totally forgot about that. I don't know. Yeah. He's just he's something else. But yeah, other than that, I think we're rebuilding our defensive line and adding to our secondary. You were saying you guys signed a center and are going to have him play guard. We signed a guard, Evan Brown from Detroit. He played center in college, so we're probably going to have him play center because we have no. Who's in the Hall of Lame?
Oh, we were talking about Bobby Wagner potentially going into the Hall of Fame. But he was talking about that no Seahawks player's jersey has been retired by a player who went and played somewhere else.
I know, I was being a smart ass. He was asking whose numbers are retired. But yeah, we got 45 for Kenny Easley, 96 for Cortez Kennedy, 71 for Walter Jones, and 80 for Largent, and 12 for the fans.
Yeah. Dude, Kennedy was a beast. Jones was a beast. Yeah. Largent, that's just like, I was so happy that when they were talking like NFL's top 100 and they had Largent there with Bill Belichick, and I was like, good, because no one really ever gives him the respect that he really deserves, because he was such a great wide receiver, and he was such a, I gotta say, I always have love for the players that are great and they
Mhm.
stuck it out on that one shitty team for their whole contract, because they're just, like
Oh, and he did.
honorable dudes. You know what I mean? Like, nope, you drafted me, like you gave me the chance. I'm your dude until I'm done playing. Like that's hella honorable. Anybody who's gonna make fun of somebody for that, I don't think it's reasonable, because
I would
there's
actually argue that Cortez Kennedy is even more of a better example than that, because at least the mid '80s, the Seahawks had a killer defense. The Seahawks did. They had Jacob Green, Fred Young, Kenny Easley, Dave Brown, all those guys, right? And they made it to the AFC Championship one year, and they were in the playoffs. But Cortez Kennedy, they never did shit. He made the playoffs one time in his whole career. Cortez Kennedy, he stuck it out with his whole career, and he passed away. So rest in peace. But yeah, he just another one of those guys. Those are the type of guys you want to retire their numbers, right? So
yeah, where you
I
feel
mean,
honored that you had the chance to be able to retire their number. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Hutchison came in, so he got inducted into the Hall of Fame, I think, 2 seasons ago. And he left us for the Vikings on a shitty contract. He knew he was signing. It was one of those poison pill contracts. So if the Seahawks were to like match the Vikings offer, it's written into his contract he would have to be the highest paid offensive lineman on the team, which ended up screwing them later. But Walter Jones was obviously our highest paid offensive lineman on the team, so we literally could not afford to sign to get Steve Hutchison back, and that's when Sean Alexander's career just went to shit. So
Yeah, it seemed like he was making business decisions. Gotta say, what's up to Jess from East Coast Red and Gold podcast. They had a wonderful show on earlier with Larry Kruger, who's a big time KJR, or is it KJR in San Francisco? I can't remember. He was a big time sports radio personality back in the Bay. So it's like, who am I thinking of? Who's up here? I can't remember who's the big
who's
guys on the
up
radio
here?
up here. Yeah, I can't
Softy,
remember. Huh? Like
Softy.
who?
Oh, you
Softy?
mean who
No,
does
like
the
people.
games? Steve Rabel.
Well, I'm talking about like on the radio when they're talking and whatnot. He was like commenters. Like Steve Rabel
Oh
does
yeah,
talk about
Steve.
stuff,
They have Steve
but
Rabel and Dave Wyman
I'm
right
think
now.
Dave, yeah, but I'm talking about like the other guy. But he's kind of more like on the radio side, like radio talk shows, not like talking about the game on the radio.
Oh yeah, that's what
Yeah.
I listen to too. So I listen to KJR.
Yeah. So he's one of those guys. So she had him on earlier. He's kind of, yeah, KNBR. That's right. KNBR. I was like,
I kind of like your guys. I kind of like your guys. Greg Papa, that guy that does your guys' games.
oh God, shut up. I get out of here.
He jinxed you guys so bad in
Oh
the
my,
Super
this
Bowl. Have
guy
you
is
heard it?
so fucking stupid. No.
He goes, so do you remember in the Super Bowl? I think they had like a strip sack or they intercepted Mahomes or something. It was the third quarter, and your guys' announcer goes, "Can you feel it now?" And so the guys on our radio play that every day before they go in.
Oh, he's so corny. And then like there was times this year, because it's hard to watch the games. So I'm having to listen to sometimes the games on the radio, and it'll be him talking. It'll be that asshole talking. And it'll be like, and handoff to Elijah Mitchell, tackled by Johnson. Now Johnson, he used to go to college with okay, tackled by him. How many
You do
yards?
pretty good.
What side of the field? You know what I mean? Like he's talking about where they're going. He wants to talk about where this player went to college and who he's friends with that he talked to about a funny story this one time, other than to tell me what the hell went on with the damn ball. Did he go for 5 yards? Okay, back under the center again. Just okay, so it's second and what? Was it second down, second and what, dude? And then
He, he sounds like
Gray
a baseball announcer.
area. Oh my god. The
Sounds like a
Raiders.
baseball announcer.
He wasn't good enough for the shitty ass Raiders. And the 40 and Jed York thought this was a fucking good. Well, not Jed York. I'm sure he didn't go, yeah, this guy. He might have had a decision on that. But whoever he hired thought this was good. And that's some incompetent shit. Shout out to Bashar. Bashar likes the guy. I don't. Bashar from 49er Minded. Yeah, I never know. He might have you on someday.
But yeah, I'm looking forward to I think that what do you think the Niners record's going to be next year as we sit right now before the draft and everything? You thinking 12 wins maybe around there?
It's so hard. It's so hard because like, oh, Jess. Sorry about that show on Saturday. I can't do it anymore. Something came up. Oh, shout out. Jess and I are doing a show on Saturday. I believe it's 6:00. I think that's what we worked out. So back here on Saturday for Jess with the East Coast Red and Gold podcast.
Yeah, I'll check it out.
For some reason I have to close my eyes. When I say her name. The East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I have to like, or else I can't get it right. Like something there's gonna mess me up, and I'll have to say it 3 times. So I just close my eyes and I power through it.
But yeah, where were we? Oh yeah, the win total. What do you think it's gonna be?
Oh, it's so tough because Brock Purdy is probably there's no way he can start the season. I'm gonna guarantee essentially you won't see him probably to probably week 5, because if he's not able to play week 1, they might just IR him, and then the first game he could come back would be week 5. Okay. And I'm not saying he'll be back week 5 because I have a feeling Trey's gonna be playing. And I don't know. I feel with this defense is going to only get better. With the secondary minded coach in here that likes to blitz a lot more, which we don't blitz a lot. He likes to blitz a lot more. I don't know if we're going to be blitzing more because we kind of get home with who we already have. We don't have to normally devote another guy in there to blitz. So it's kind of nice how the situation we got going on with our offensive line and the personnel, or our defensive line and the personnel. So I don't know how that goes. So, but I think we're going to be better on the defensive line or on the defense. So I think we'll have better chances to have troubles with a rookie quarterback starting, his first season. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like last season, he started a game and a drive. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly.
So like he's still a rookie quarterback, and we'll call it his first season. So I see some. It all depends. We can go 3-5 like we kind of always do through week 8, and then we could go on a run. You know what I mean? Like how many times have you seen the Niners go on like a good sturdy winning streak, into the playoffs lately? So we could be an 8-9 season. It could be an 8-9 season. It could be a 13-4 season.
See where I got you guys, I got you like 12-4. Sorry, 12-5. It's been 2 years and I still can't adjust to the 17-game schedule. It still sounds weird saying 12-5 instead of 12-4. Like coming out of my mouth, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. But yeah,
I just do the math every time. I figure out the wins and then I subtract it from 17, and that's how I come up with the. I just have to do the math every time because I'm not gonna like the pairings are off.
Yeah, exactly. It used to be you could actually finish 500. Oh, what up, David? But yeah, no, I think it'll be the 49ers will finish with 12 or 13 wins, and the Seahawks will finish with 10 or 11 wins. But I'd really like it because I know the NFL is going to schedule that last game to be against us because we finished 1-2 last year in the division, and I'm really hoping that one will be for the division. That would be so awesome. Because I think we're both playoff teams. I think you guys still have the edge, but we'll see in the draft, right? We'll see what moves the Seahawks and 49ers make. And I'm really hoping both of us will be in the playoffs. It would be so awesome to play you guys in the NFC Championship again.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Oh, if only I could edit that. I put David was asking if he could come on. I just let him know.
Bro,
that
we'll
it was
talk
just
Friday.
You and I tonight. Yeah,
no,
Friday's
dude.
going down, bro. That's the call-in show.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep coming in every Friday and keep bugging you guys wearing my Seahawks shit, so you guys can talk shit to me, and I just take it like a champ. You guys are better than us right now. Yeah, you are.
Just, I wonder if she's a part of Buzz Twitter right now. It's about 10:30 where she's at, and she might have a few. She might be. Now this lady, I'll tell you what, Jess. If you ever go into the East Coast Red and Gold podcast and you see her, she's got 2 life-size cardboard cutouts of her men behind her as she's talking. She got one of Kittle and one of Kyle, and she got both them there. So she's always surrounded by her men. So
where's the Jimmy G one? I thought the girls only like Jimmy. I'm just being a smart ass.
I think Jess really
the Warriors cheerleaders.
I think Jess knows more about football than she is smitten by looks. Let's just say that. Oh. You know what I'm saying? Jess also, hey, you want to talk about meeting players? Jess has got a picture with like everybody. She goes and meets them at the hotels, you know what I mean, out in front, says hi. She goes to the signing things where you get to meet them and they sign stuff for you. So like she's met them all.
Yeah.
You're right, Ryan. I think that was about the drunk Twitter.
The looks.
Yeah.
Knowing about ball rather than
it could be that too.
I don't know if you saw today the Saints sign Jonathan Abram, the guy who tried to twist Debo's ankle last year. So thank God we didn't bring that shithead back.
Oh, well, it seems like a kind of Saints move. You know, they like shitty players that do shit like that. Quick, if you want to explain your thought process when that happened, because I don't know if we spoke about it on air like this. I'd like some of the fans to hear your thought process about what happened during the game when he twisted the ankle and how you were disappointed.
Oh, so obviously I thought about going to the game, but we'll just take you through it. I thought about going to the game because tickets were super cheap. I don't know if you remembered. It was supposed to be like a monsoon in Santa Clara, but it wasn't. So thought about going to the game. Then I was like, dude, we're gonna get our doors blown off. I ain't going. And then the first half's going, we're sticking in it. And then I think it was your guys' last offensive possession. Debo catches it. It's like it had to be inside the 20, right? And then Jonathan Abram just gets up and twists his ankle. And I was like, dude, you barely made our freaking roster. The only reason you're in the game is because people are hurt. And that's just not the way we play, right? Like we talk a big game, but we're not dirty players, if that makes sense. Like we talk a lot of shit. We'll sit there and talk shit, but we've always been about, playing not dirty, if that makes sense. So like we'll talk like we're assholes, but we don't really play like we're assholes. We'll play within the gentleman's rules of the game. We'll hold you and stuff like that. But yeah, no, I was just pissed. I thought, hey, maybe take him in at halftime, literally tell him just take your pads off and get the fuck out of here. And it woke the 49ers up. It did. I really think that was the turning point of that game.
Well, I think we were kind of already moving down. There was also other things that happened, but I think that was like, how sometimes there's like bumps in that intensity and that morale, you know what I mean? And that was kind of one of the bump. And once you hit that, once the meter gets full, you know what I'm saying? Then you could do the special combo, you know what I mean? And that's where we were going. And by the end of the game, we were in special combo mode. You know what I mean?
Dude, it was just so stupid. Like your guys' team was obviously more talented than ours. We're staying in the game. Why do something to piss them off like that? Talk your shit all you want. No, but this isn't the XFL. Go play in the XFL if you want to twist some guy's ankle at the end of the play.
when you're the underdog and you are staying with the big dog, just be silent.
Exactly.
You know why? Because they're being frustrated because they're not getting anywhere.
The separation.
They're not gaining any. There's no separation. You're staying right with. So and they're not talking. They're not talking because they can't back anything up right now. So you talking is just going to give them more something to come back and be like, yeah, we got, you know what I mean? So that's why I think, you know, when you're the underdog and you're right there, don't talk.
Dude,
Don't
I
talk.
don't like I said, I don't really care if they talk shit, but that was just a total Bush League move. You know,
Well,
I did not.
I mean, like talking shit. Don't poke the bear when you're in that position because you don't know how it could go. You are the underdog. Don't forget that. You know what I mean? Like there's a reason why they are the favored team. You know what I mean? So don't ever forget that. If you've got somebody where they're in a slump, keep them there by staying quiet and keep doing what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like when people say it's like we got to give 110%, there's no way you're giving more than 100%. What that really means is you got to lock down on all the details and make sure you make no mistakes because there's no room for error. That's what essentially to me 110% means. Is you just got to do everything that's in your control to make sure that you don't make any mistakes and you just help your team out. And so like when you get people who are in that zone and willing to give that 110%, you know what I mean? And you're there, don't say anything to piss them off because they're at 70%. You're staying with them because they're at 70%. You want to kick them into 110%? Bro, have a nice day.
Yeah, try to twist Devo's ankle. Like I said, and I hate when refs eject players. Like it actually is stupid to me. Like little fights on the side and stuff, it don't bug me. Something like that deserved an ejection. I did not agree with that at all. I was like, they didn't even throw a flag. And I'm sitting there as a Seahawks fan, and I've told you this before on Sundays. Talk to me Monday through Saturday, and I will tell you the straight up truth how I feel. But on Sundays, I am completely different. I'm like, oh yeah, you know, I'm 100% a homer on Sundays. That's my one day where I can be a homer.
Right.
But that, I was like, dude, get him out of the game. Like, if I was a ref in that situation, I'd have been like, nope, you're out.
Wait until the season. Wait until the season
What?
now that you got your channel. Wait until the season now that you got your channel. Because it's well, at least it did for me and a couple other people I know. We don't necessarily get as pissed off about things because we know when we go live next, we're going to lay into them. You know what I mean? It's kind of like you messed up, boy. I'm gonna have to get you for this one. You know what I mean? It's kind of nice. You know what I mean? Because you got this outlet. You know what I mean? You've got people to, you know, you got a community to get you through the hard times. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Oh,
yeah, Brian,
speaking of
what's
community,
up?
one of the fulcrums.
Yeah, and I do need a hat made. Ryan was telling me last night you made hats, so I do need a hat made. But no, yes, I've learned like with
DM
being a homer, dude, I was such a shithead when I was 12 years old watching the Seahawks. When I was 12 years old watching the Seahawks, if we lost a game, dude, I would throw a fit. But as I get to like 17, 18, 19, I'm just much of a cooler head than I was when I was, say, the ages of 12 through 15. Dude, I was like no other. You'd have thought somebody shot my dog if the Seahawks lost.
I remember when the 49ers beat the it was San Diego Chargers and in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that was like one of the worst Super Bowls of all time, but blowout wise, right?
Yeah. So I was at a church youth group's leader's house watching this 49ers game. And he's a San Diego Chargers fan. And I'm not
there are those?
Yes. So I was I was talking mad shit without being like ignorant. And I'm talking about, let's see, I was like 12, 11. I was 11 or 12. And I'm like, I'm just like eviscerating him just by making like plain statements to the point where I was like as a kid, I looked back on that. I was like, yeah, I might have been a little too rough on that guy. And you're talking about a grown ass adult. And it was like, I was in there going, your guy can't even block. You know what I mean? Like, I'm making little observations like this, bro. I don't know how he didn't slap me. Like, you know, he must have been good with God. You know what I mean?
I think, you remember that year the NFC West was like the worst division in football in 2010, right? So I was 12 years old. And the week before the last home game, Matt Hasselbeck gets hurt. I go into my room just straight up bawling my eyes out because I thought we were going to make the playoffs, but no. And then I ended up going to the game next week, but, you know, we made the playoffs at 7-9. But still, dude, I remember going to my room just basically bawling my eyes out because Matt Hasselbeck gets hurt. And we have to start Charlie Whitehurst instead.
I remember it was like one of the, it's when you had Jerry Rice on the team. You were going to the playoffs. You were in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And it comes down to like the last play, you need a touchdown, and you threw it to D-Jack.
Dropped that ball.
No, it was D-Jack, wasn't it?
It was Bobby Ingram.
It was Bobby Ingram.
Sucks. I love Bobby Ingram.
I thought it was Daryl Jackson.
No, in the end zone, you know, and Matt Hasselbeck goes, yeah, and then drops to his knees.
I was like, why didn't you hit Jerry Rice? I was watching that game. I remember I was leaned over the couch. My elbows were on the couch. And I hadn't been watching the whole game. You know, I've been watching some of it. And I came out in the last end. And I'm sitting there and they threw it. He dropped it. And I just remember going, you should have thrown it to Rice. And I just walked away because I was like, I was, you know, Seahawks were like my second favorite team at the time because like they weren't in the NFC West yet. They weren't.
Yeah,
in the NFC
we just came to the NFC West, so it wasn't like anything.
Yeah, so I was like, you know, they're still kind of, you know, a favorite. And I was like, man, you guys, just like when you got a talent like that, it's like you got Michael Jordan on your team. You know what I mean? Look, he's old, but guess what? The man's been making them. Well, actually, I think Scottie Pippen was making the shots, but you know what I mean? Like he makes this game-winning shots. You got Larry Bird on the team. He's old. Guess what? That man was telling people what shot he was going to take, and then he'd take it. You know what I'm saying? Have you heard some of them stories about him?
Uh-huh.
You heard about
Jerry Rice?
No, Larry Bird.
Oh, no. Well, obviously, yeah, like just common ones.
Larry Bird would, like, at the end of the game, they would need to score to win it, and he would tell the defense, the opposing team, he's going to bring it into me. I'm going to get the ball down there. I'm going to shoot it, win the thing. There's one time. No, not just that. There was one time where something happened, and he made the shot, and they had to redo it or something like that. And he's like, we're doing the same thing. And he did it twice on them after telling them both times he was going to do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Bro, that's some God level shit right there. Like,
yeah, he was something else. But yeah, those were like the Tim Rattay and who was the other quarterback? Like JT O'Sullivan for the 49ers, right? 03 and 04.
It was bad years, man.
Yeah, because it was right after Garcia left.
It was almost nice living in Washington at that time because you couldn't watch the games. So you know what I mean? There's this like you couldn't, you know, just sit there and get yourself kicked in the nuts over and over again. Not that, you know.
Trust me, dude. I'm a Mariners fan. I know what it feels like to get kicked in the nuts every season.
Bro, so. I was riding with them. I started being a fan before they got to that 116-yard season. I was kind of like, you know, watching some, and then after that, like my interest died. I also started watching hockey at some point. Became
I'm not a hockey guy.
Colorado Avalanche fan. Oh, hockey's fun, bro.
I'm not a hockey guy.
You need to go. Have you ever seen hockey real life?
Just the Thunderbirds. You're probably a tips guy, though, right? Everett
Fuck
Silver
yeah,
tips.
I'm a tips guy. Fuck yeah, I'm a tips
Thunderbirds guy.
Yeah. I've seen many a Silvertips game in the box, in the suites. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I used to work at Crown. So like, in fact, it was funny. Oh, so one year I'm working at Crown, Budweiser, and
Mhm.
everybody's wearing their Seahawks hat, right? So I'm wearing my Niners hat. And then there's a memo that goes out company wide that says you can only wear Budweiser hats, like Budweiser, Bud Light hats, or a Seahawk hat. And
See,
I said,
I like your company.
no, I kept on wearing my hat, and I was waiting for somebody to say something, because if you're going to let people wear Seahawks hat, there's no way you could discriminate on me and say I can't wear my Niners hat. You can fuck off. We're union, bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, so then like later, knowing that the owner is a prick, which he's a piece of shit. He was so horrible. He bought the company, never paid off the people that he bought it from, was doing all sorts of shit, to the point where Anheuser-Busch was able to force him to sell his distributorship to them. Yeah, it was some bad stuff. Anyway, so this guy comes down. The code for their the code for the suite was 4901. And when I was like, oh, the code's 40. Oh, you saw the 49ers are number one? And they were just like the look of the glare on the face. Oh, this guy, hey, the owner, this guy drunk off his ass one time in front of a whole bunch of like QFC store managers. Okay. So they're all in there enjoying a Silvertips game, drinking, having fun. He's like so drunk he could barely stand up straight, and he mumbles, "Hey, Ryan?" And I go, "Yeah, Pete, what's up?" He's like, "My name's Pete." And I go, "Yeah, Pete." This is the third time he has introduced himself to me. This guy was bad. Shout out to Pete Bargreen, piece of shit. Everybody go look him up. He's got a brother that has a big, huge business in California.
But yeah, I'm just hoping for that NFC West championship to be on the last game of the season. I hope it's here in Seattle. That would be freaking awesome.
It's usually in Seattle. They like to end it, but I don't know. They also used to have us on like the game before Christmas, or like the game right around Christmas. Because I remember the game I went to.
So 2012, when Sherman ran that kickback, like we just smoked you guys. You guys ended up going to the Super Bowl that year. But yeah, they usually play us later in the year in Seattle.
Was that the year we hadn't given up a touchdown all year long, and then Marshawn Lynch? Okay, so
I lied. That was the year before.
That's the game I was at.
That was when we were still in our ugly uniforms. That was the year, but yeah, so that was 2011. And you guys haven't given up a rushing touchdown all season, and then Marshawn Lynch finally ran in for one.
December 24th, 2011. Okay, yeah. I was sitting at a bar, sitting there drinking when I saw your new uniforms come out, and I was like, man, I was like, these like 49ers uniforms, you can't do anything like what the Seahawks do. The 49ers are always going to be classic. That's going to be the way you describe a 49ers uniform. If it changes from something classic, I don't see it looking anything good. Like, it just, to me,
I liked your guys' mid 2000s uniforms the best.
The
kind of darker red, the darker red.
The darker red.
Yeah,
the Garrison Hurst versions. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. No, I thought that was sweet. Those were sweet.
But if you look, it's all the same. It's like, stripes. You know what I mean? It's the emblem. There's no like jazzy thing. But I really liked how you guys went all in on like the Native American side with the feathers and all that stuff. Like, I was like, this is so smart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Right, like they did it right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And you know how to tell a fake one? This is kind of super random, but there's 12 feathers on each side for the 12th man. And if it's fake, it'll have like 11 or 13.
Gotcha. That's funny. Yeah, no, there was a lot of symbolism on that jersey, actually, in their outfit. Like everything means something, which I also think is awesome.
Bro, they were Brian. If you ever want to come up here, I'm not giving you shit. Just literally text me, and I will show you all around the city. That's where I work every day, and we go tailgate before every single game. So we
It's
have a good time. I think you're the one that doesn't drink, right? So you won't be able to keep up with me, but we'll see.
it's nice because there's kind of everything around there, so you could just kind of walk.
Yeah, it's basically just Pioneer Square and the stadiums, right?
Dude,
So,
fuck Pioneer Square. I've taken so I was, installing dishwashers all over, and there was a couple times I'd have a new guy driving the truck, and I'd be like, we got to get out of here. We got to get to a different road. We got to, something like that. I said, we need to make a turn. And then, like, every once in a while, they'd always turn down Pike Street. And it's like, oh, now we're here for 30 minutes. Oh.
no, see, my version of Pioneer Square is basically from the middle of Pioneer Square to the stadiums. I don't like going up to the market. It's just too much for me.
It's too much. It's if you've never been there, Bryant, you got to take the family through there. You got to see the fish being thrown. You got to, all that.
I've never seen anybody throw a goddamn fish in my life.
Well,
I've been here my whole life, and I've never seen.
They don't throw it like you see it when they do it on the commercials. You have to pay for that. You know what I mean? Like, you literally have to pay for that. You got to tip somebody for that, as far as I know.
Brian's an Elysian guy. Look at that. Space Dust, Super Fuzz, Dayglow. Look at that.
Have you ever had a super dust?
Brian? Dank dust?
Is that what you call it?
Oh no, they have this new one called the Dank Dust.
You mix Super Fuzz and Space Dust together.
Dude, so
have you had Mac and Jack, Brian? Since you've been to look, Brian, if you ever come to Washington, you need to have a Mac and Jack. Okay. Anybody watching, you come to Washington, you have to have a Mac and Jack. Okay. They don't bottle it, so you're not going to really find it anywhere in any other state. It's like the #1 tap handle in the state of Washington. It's a good beer. Like, you can't like, I can't get drunk on them because they're rich. There's a lot of the acid kind of fucks with me a little bit, but it's great beer. Like, sit down.
Manny's another IPA. One they only have on tap, and it's only here. We have so many great beers in the Northwest. I mean, it's crazy. Brian, I swear to God, you need to come up here, and we'll talk on Friday, obviously, if you're going to be on the call-in show. But yeah, we'll talk about it.
He's got Murphy. He better be staying at home with the missus for a while, make sure the baby's okay.
Bring the family. I bring my wife to the games. You got to bring the fam.
Both got tickets?
What's that?
You guys both got tickets?
Well, I have two. I take her to like half of them.
Gotcha.
Yeah, she's not a huge football fan, but she supports me. Obviously, I have a room in my house set up like this. So,
well, don't let her fool you. This is just so your shit isn't hanging around anywhere else in the other house next to what she. You know what I mean? Like, it's not fucking up the feng shui anywhere else.
We got to go Hawks little steel sign as soon as you walk in our door.
Yeah.
During it sucks though, because this used to be a bachelor pad, so I used to have just like Seahawks throw pillows, Seahawks everywhere. Basically Seahawks and Jeeps. And, it looks a lot nicer now that she's here. If that makes sense.
Oh yeah.
Looks a lot more
that.
family.
They do that, and it usually, like, the air is cleaner. You know what I mean? They usually bring plants and stuff, so it's all for the good. The plants.
I will come. Just send out the bat signal. But
yeah, just not a Seahawks symbol.
We'll send out the Hawk signal. Don't worry, Brian. Altamont.
I haven't heard of that one.
It's like the greatest concert of all time is what he's talking about. I'm just kidding.
Oh.
But yeah, dude, what you got going on the rest of the week, I guess?
Oh, I should have a show tomorrow night with Raj. I should also have a show tomorrow with Platform 246. Shout out to Lawrence.
Okay.
Friday
he's
night.
coming on my show on Saturday.
Oh, wonderful. Saturday or Friday, I have the call-in. Oh, also tomorrow night is Corey Lockdown Davis's trivia night.
I was gonna say I will be there. I will definitely be there.
I should be there too. I kind of leave that time open so I can go and be there. So y'all join me there also. Friday's the call-in. We usually go till midnight, start at 7, and then Saturday at 6 with Jess, and then we start the week all over again. And yeah, plug in then.
But yeah, Wednesdays will be here for sure, or either here or my channel. I like this.
Yeah.
I'd like to get like you said, like a Cardinals guy or Rams guy and talk to him next week. That should be fun. Because
give me 1 second. Let me get the link to your channel so I could drop it in the chat. So we're going to be on his channel next week.
Mm-hmm.
So make sure to go over and subscribe. Gotta find him. But yeah, what do you got going on this week?
I just got Platform 246 coming on Saturday. I'll probably call into your show for a little bit on Friday night. I've been having fun doing that the past 2 Fridays. So
yeah. It's been great.
I like going behind enemy lines, you know.
Oh, are you up to 21 subscribers? Look at you.
I guess after today, I was only at 20 coming in. So look at you. You did that for me. Thanks, man.
I think you did that.
But yeah, dude. Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about, or are you good?
Oh, I think we've covered a lot.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry I got off topic.
Oh, you're good. Hey, off topic's fine.
Yeah, Jess, I'll definitely be there on Saturday. What time? 6 p.m. or 6?
We're here at 6. 6.
Okay.
Oh, I can't remember if it was Eastern time or Pacific. Jess, is it Eastern time or Pacific on Saturday that we're going live? Eastern time.
Okay,
so 3 o'clock Pacific. Yep. Okay, you heard it first.
I should get off. I should get off with Lawrence about that time. So,
man, good. Bring them on in the chat. You could help discuss. But with that, I want to thank everybody that showed up tonight. East Coast, Jess showing up.
Yeah,
Brian
thank
Colt,
you guys so much.
David McNiner, David Corona. Let's see. Damian Lee popped in here. Tommy Huxley, Joey Mahoney. Let's see. Am I missing anybody else? Eric Willis. Shout out to Eric, one of our our consistent Seahawks fan. Nathan Z showing up. Randy Daytona. Forgot about him. And I think I said David McNiner, but just in case, David McNiner.
You can't forget Bryant. I forgot about Bryant.
Didn't I say Bryant? Bryant Colt. I thought I did, but
gotta give him 2 if we didn't give him 1.
Yep. And shout out to Bryant Colt and Lori, that little baby. Murphy.
Well, thank you. It's been awesome.
With that, we're out of here.
All right. See ya.
Peace.
Bye.